Hello, I'm Thomas Willeford, and this is Meet Your Maker. People ask me all the time how I find parts to make all the stuff I do. A lot of it actually comes from clocks. Clocks are terrified of me. They literally, I think they stop working near me, hoping I won't notice the ticking, and then they realize that if they don't work, I will tear them apart. I've accidentally become a clock repair person a little bit. I'm not a true horologist or anything, but I've gotten pretty good at fixing ones that don't quite work, that maybe work a little bit. So now my house has a bunch of cuckoo clocks in it. But I use the clocks because they're already brassy, they're metal. Brass is a soft metal, very easy to work with. A lot of my stuff is made from them, and they have these juicy gears. Older clocks have great gears in them. And a lot of people will tear a clock apart and destroy half the gears, destroy half the pieces. So I'm going to show you how to mine a clock for the best juicy bits. That's what I'm going to do here. I was in England, and a lady had this cuckoo clock for sale. So I thought, oh, I'll pick this up. It'll be great. How much does she want for it? She only wanted £5. £5 is not that much money. It's like, whoa! It was at the time, it was like $8. And I was just, my hand almost caught on fire moving so fast, giving her money. And my friends, who I kind of sent them off in another direction. Oh, what's that pretty brass thing over there? So they went over there to investigate. And they come back, and they see me with this clock, and they realize that I had clock blocked them. But they see the clock, and they're like, oh, that's so great. And I said, yeah, I bet it's got great gears in it. And I just grabbed the roof of this cuckoo clock, tore it off. And you could hear silence from everyone around me. I think the lady had a heart attack right there. And my friends are like, I see pitchforks and torches. Time to go, Thomas. We're out of here. These are all completely different types of clocks. This one here, you wind it up. It's got these two barrels here, and there are springs inside of them. The springs are dangerous. I'm going to show you how to tear this apart without getting yourself hurt. This one here has these ratchets in it. That means that it was hanging in such a way that there were weights hanging from them, and the weights supplied all the power to turn all the cool little bits inside and everything like that. Love that. This was, they call it an anniversary clock because it would actually run for up to a year if it was balanced right. This one's obviously been beat to death, and there's usually a glass bit that goes over it. That is to keep dust from getting in it because it was that delicate an instrument. It's probably from a grandfather clock, a modern grandfather clock. Funny thing about grandfather clocks, they're called grandfather clocks because of a song. There was actually a song about grandfather's clock that was too tall to go on the mantle, so they had to put it in the hallway on the floor. And then everyone said, I want a clock like grandfather, so they kept going bigger and bigger. This is the clock I'm going to use. Oh my God, yeah. This guy right here. This is a big mantle clock. It's in terrible shape, honestly, but it's got lots of good innards in it. I'm going to keep the outside fine. I'm not going to tear that up. There's a little door in the back. That's how you get into it. If I have, and there's also screws to take off. I'm going to go through all that. And I'm going to show you how to cannibalize this clock for parts. And here's the tools you're going to need. 2 relatively small screwdrivers, flathead, your needle nose pliers. This is very handy. It's a little crow's foot, pair of standard pliers. Small hammer would help. A rotary tool, doesn't matter what brand. A couple nail sets. Nice pair of safety glasses, possibly some ear protection. And if you really if you really want to do it and go for it, a small anvil will help. You can do it without, but a small anvil will help. So here's the top of my clock. There's the face. It's so pretty. First thing I'm going to do is take this face off. The small flat screwdriver, I can see there's a couple screws there. Your clock may vary, but don't throw any of it away. All of it is great for various projects. Now, often there, see this little piece that popped off? You can take that off first too, with this tool. Ta-da! Little crow's foot. You should get one of these. They are awesome. Pulling small nails, things like that. Pop that right off. Now you get this bit here. I could reassemble this clock with a modern mechanism, and it'd be awesome. Notice it says 1912 there. That means that's the year this clock was made, or at least patented. If I look in here, I can see that that is not going to fit through this hole. This is the access hole to the back to maintain it. But there's 4 screws right here. The reason I have this white paper down and everything is I can see everything. Everything falls there. I can see it. If it's really dirty, you can't see it. Voila. See? There she is. Right here. That's obligatory. You got to do that. Everything's here. Oh my God, this clock is probably fixable. Shh. It doesn't have any hands. First thing I do, there's a weight on this arm here. Take that off. That's a little weight there. And then I find there's going to be at least 4 screws, probably each corner, to remove this clock. Same thing for a cuckoo clock. If I need to, get a longer flat screwdriver. A longer one, a little easier. Remember, it does come apart. People get frustrated. You shouldn't get frustrated. Somebody put it together, and in this case, someone put it together in just after the Edwardian era. This is just a bit before World War One. Actually, this was the year the Titanic sank. Here it goes. Be careful. That spring is wound. You can see that it's tight. If it's open like this, it's not as wound up. Yikes! That right there. That can mess you up, by the way. Did not mess me up. Anyway, so I'm going to set this aside. Inside here, there's a little... That's held on with that. Right there. So I'm going to get a pair of pliers. I'm going to use my needle nose. Turn this bit here. Hold that. Now I've got an empty case. Empty wooden case. Well, put that aside. So if you look at this, one side has little nuts on it. The other side just has posts that are kind of riveted on. You're going to want the nut side up. Shh. First thing you're going to want to do, if you have a clock, any clock, is check the value of it. Go online, whatever, see if it's expensive. I tore apart a clock that turned out to be worth a couple $1,000s once. And that was terrible, by the way. See these nuts here? You're going to take those off. You're not going to pull this apart yet because that spring right there, that spring is connected to this gear. If that spring unwinds real fast, that gear will spin very fast. Doesn't that gear look a lot like a circular saw blade? Yeah, exactly. Looks like a circular saw blade. And that will cause you a problem. It will actually crease into your, it'll tear you up, tear your nail up, whatever. I'm going to take these nuts off first. Actually, I'm going to take this bell off. It's the most furthest thing out. The next piece I could take off, probably this guy here. I'm looking at the screws. That's the furthest from this surface, so I'm taking this off next. Right there. Now, I am not thinking about ever putting this back together, so I don't have to know where everything goes. But I'm keeping all the screws in case I want to use that, that screw hole later. I can fit the screws back in. And I'm keeping everything. Next are these 4 screws that hold the 2 plates together. See how this has got a bent piece here? I don't know if you can see that, but this is probably the culprit that killed this clock, is that bent gear, because that's not going to work. I could probably take my pliers, bend that gear back up gently over time to where it belongs. Don't get me started. Okay. So, whenever you see a how-to video, watch your whole how-to video all the way through, take notes, and then go back and watch it again while you're doing your project. You can use a wrench for this, by the way. Use a small adjustable wrench. You can find out what wrench it actually fits, things like that. I am I'm holding this together to keeping away from this gear here and this gear here. Because once it starts going, it could easily hurt me. And I value my fingers a great deal. So now I'm going to show you the trick. Here's the trick. That gear wants to hurt me. Wants to hurt everyone. A good friend of mine who used to work on clocks told me how to fix this, how to take care of this. You take a rag. Hold this together. Take a rag so it's covering both ends and pull it apart. This way, it's still terrifying. Might not be ready. Check it again. Sure. Yeah, that one's still, that one did it. Cool. Yeah. Take the rag, put it over this gear area. See where that is right there? Put it over that and pry it apart. Still looking. So take the rag, take this little guy here, stick it in here. Jeez. See, I'm putting the rag over that gear. Then I'm going to start prying at it. See that? See how it's trying to eat the rag and not my finger? That's what you want. Now, it may be a little harder to get the rag out of there. I put my pliers there. See how these gears are starting to fall out without getting hurt? A team. Put those gears there. Still staring at that other gear, terrified. Here's this little butterfly gear. I love those things. If you go cutting willy-nilly in there, you're going to tear up parts that you might want to keep later, which is why I'm not doing that. I'm also keeping this plate between me and the gear, because that's terrifying. Now this spring also broke. See that? This is the end of that spring. That's the other thing that killed this clock. When that spring broke, it tore up that one gear that bent. Now I don't feel so bad about this clock. I don't feel bad about tearing this clock apart. It took me a while, but I don't feel bad about it. I'm going to put on some even better safety goggles. So these safety goggles, my glasses are okay. These safety goggles also have little magnifiers in the bottom. You can get these at Granger, Harbor Freight, any of those type of places. Getting the rag out of there is going to be a pain, but it's still better than the pain. There it goes. See how that went? Still better than the pain of having your finger torn apart by that gear down there. There's now no more tension left, or not much tension left in that spring. Hey, look, another nut. That bolt off, that nut off, yay. There. Now this plate is off. Yay, team. I think I'm done with the flying objects and put my old glasses back on. That's a nice, juicy gear right there. This gear is so, I love this. Oh, this gear is great. Getting the, careful. Trying to take the spring off there. Not going to worry about it just yet, but. Another one. All these coming out. That. And that's all your main stuff. This gives you loads of raw materials to make things from, if you are gear inclined. Check out my book, Steampunk Gear, Gadgets, and Gizmos on Amazon. It also has How to Tear a Clock Apart in it. I've come up with some extra things here that are not in the book, so this is also valuable. And you've seen every little bit that you can get from it. You can still use the case. There's hardware on the case. If I was going to make a specialty box, I'd take the hardware off the feet of the case. All this stuff is just gold. This is loads of projects all right here. If you like what you saw today as much as I obviously like hearing my own voice, please hit the like button. If you want to see more mad science and fine art, please feel free to subscribe. And if you want to help me keep the gears turning here, please follow the link below to my Patreon page. And as always, thank you so very much for watching.